Hi, everyone. I'm Elaine Quijano. North Korea is giving its version of the historic summit between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. According to the regime's state news agency, the two men agreed to visit each other's countries. The readout from North Korean officials also says the men agreed on a step-by-step process to denuclearize North Korea in return for U.S. concessions. The reports come after a historic meeting between the two leaders in Singapore. Though North Korea is known as a reclusive nation, the country's leader, Kim Jong-un, appeared a social butterfly alongside President Trump at the summit. The pair signed an agreement outlining their goals for denuclearizing the Korean peninsula. On his way home Tuesday evening, the president tweeted, writing in part, "Got along great with Kim Jong-un, who wants to see wonderful things for his country." Our Major Garrett has more.
Aboard Air Force One, President Trump offered some fresh Twitter commentary on the summit, writing he, quote, "got along great with Kim Jong-un, who wants to see wonderful things for his country." That belief that Kim is different and will act differently fuels the president's seemingly boundless post-summit optimism. A jubilant President Trump boarded Air Force One today for Washington, leaving Singapore with what he said was an historic new relationship with North Korea and a commitment from dictator Kim Jong-un to eventually give up nuclear weapons. In roughly 5 hours, the leaders shook hands at least 8 different times, gestures that conveyed new friendliness while elevating secretive and repressive North Korea on the world stage.
A lot of goodwill went into this, a lot of work.
The two men signed a joint statement that called for better relations, peace between the two Koreas, and denuclearization.
Mr. President, this joint statement does not talk about verifiable or irreversible denuclearization.
Yeah.
Is that a concession on the part of the United States?
No, not at all, because if you look at it, I mean, it said we are going to, let's say here, it will be gone. I don't think you can be any more plain than what we're asking.
The president said inspectors will verify North Korean compliance, and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo will lead the negotiations over the details of the process to dismantle the weapons program.
So, Mike, our whole team has to get to work and get it completed, because otherwise we've done a good job, but if you don't get the ball over the goal line, it doesn't mean enough, okay?
Mr. Trump also announced an end to joint U.S.-South Korea military exercises, a goal long sought by North Korea. The move surprised many at the Pentagon and in Seoul.
We'll be saving a tremendous amount of money. Plus, I think it's very provocative.
The summit was a spectacle, with Kim even comparing it to a science fiction movie.
In a meeting to remake history.
And Mr. Trump showed Kim this video showcasing a glowing new North Korean economic future. The president said North Korea had beautiful beaches ready for condominium development.
Think of it from a real estate perspective. You have South Korea, you have China, and they own the land in the middle. How bad is that, right?
Last year, the president called North Korea, with its abysmal human rights record, wicked and depraved. Today, he said he trusts the dynastic young dictator after just one face-to-face meeting.
He's smart, loves his people, he loves his country, he wants a lot of good things, and that's why he's doing this.
Joining me now from Washington is Matthew Kroenig. He's a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council and an associate professor at Georgetown University. All right, Matthew, you said Monday you thought Kim Jong-un simply wanted, quote, his cake and to eat it too, and that we can't trust the North, that the North will follow through on any process of denuclearization. Do you still feel that way following the summit?
Well, I do hold out some small bit of hope that maybe Kim Jong-un has made a strategic decision to go in another direction. But I suspect that he is, as you said, trying to keep his nuclear and missile program and get the relief from international pressure. And nothing that happened yesterday changes that view. The statement released, the communique, was pretty vague, high level. What many people expected. No real details in terms of how North Korea would denuclearize or the time frame. And it was the United States making the first upfront concession, agreeing to stop military exercises with really no concessions on the North Korean side. So view remains unchanged.
Well, what steps does the United States need to see the North take in the coming months to prove that North Korea is serious?
Well, if North Korea is serious, there are some concrete steps they can take within the next few weeks. They could transfer nuclear warheads out of the country to a third country. They could transfer weapons-grade nuclear material, highly enriched uranium or plutonium. They could destroy missiles. These are some of the tests or steps physically destroying their nuclear missile capabilities that would show Kim Jong-un is serious. And again, it wouldn't take much time. I think we'll know within a month or so whether there's anything here or whether Kim Jong-un is just trying to play us.
Well, critics, of course, argue that Kim's pledge Tuesday to surrender nuclear weapons is almost identical to promises the rogue nation has made and broken in the past. Is there any reason at all to believe that the country will stick to the agreement this time around?
That's right. We've had an agreement in 1994, 2005, 2012, all of which the North Koreans have broken. So I fear that we're going to see this movie played again. You know, other serious experts think that maybe Kim Jong-un has made a strategic decision. He's a young man. He's going to be in power for many decades. He wants to follow the path of Vietnam, Taiwan, China, other formerly communist countries that modernized their economy. So maybe we can hold out some small degree of hope, but I'm on balance skeptical. I think that he wants to keep this nuclear and missile program.
Well, President Trump said the United States would suspend military exercises with South Korea. What do you make of that concession? Well, on one hand, I wouldn't have supported it for a couple of reasons. One, the U.S.-South Korea alliance is legal. Conducting military exercises is legal. North Korea's nuclear and missile program is illegal under international law in violation of UN Security Council resolutions. So I think it's wrong to equate those things. Second, I think it should have been the North Koreans making the concessions up front, not the United States. The only bit of good news there is that this is a decision that's easily reversible. If we find that North Korea is not following through on its commitment to denuclearize, the United States and South Korea could easily resume the military exercises if the president gives the order to do so. Well, our David Martin is reporting that most senior military officials were caught off guard by that announcement. How significant is that?
Usually in these kind of negotiations, you would have had interagency process beforehand, most of the U.S. government on board with the recommendations. You know, this was an unconventional negotiation from the beginning, starting with the high-level meeting, with the detailed process playing out after. And, you know, military exercises aren't merely symbolic. If you want to have an effective force, if you want to have an effective alliance, you need to exercise. So the president said he's suspending these exercises, but they'll have to resume at some point if we want to have continue to have a serious alliance with South Korea.
All right, Matthew Kroenig in Washington for us. Matthew, always great to have your insight. Thank you.
Thank you.